सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां दयाकरं दान्तं धर्मप्रवर्तकं प्रणमामि दयानन्दं मदाचार्यपरम्परम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्यक्तसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्विमे काः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी। Fourteenth verse. न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. We will chant this again because we are making the same mistake. Lokasya and srijati, there is no doubling there. Lokasya srijate prabhuhu. Okay. न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजते प्रभुः न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं युगसंस्थं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः ज्ञानेन तु तदज्ञानं येषां नाशितमात्मनः तेषामादित्यवज्ञानं प्रकाशयति तत्परम्. This is like a small mini section after discussing in detail the verse, a very important verse, which was the verse 13th verse. Then what was the 13th verse all about? The 13th verse was determining that the Atma is neither Karta nor Bhokta nor Karayita. That the Atma has nothing to do with action, and also the person who knows the Atma, do they have anything to do with the action? Nothing. They have nothing to do with action, nothing to do with consequences of action, and in fact classifying oneself as actor is at the helm of the samsari, is the hallmark of samsara. Because we saw also the connection between the identification of one as actor to what? Guilt. And the identification of one as the receiver of the karma phala of other people's actions. What are they subject to? Hurt. So this guilt and hurt are the hallmarks of samsara. So the recipe of how to become a samsari quickly. What do? Say, I am an agent of action. I am done in by my own doings. I am done in by your doings also. So like this, this was the gist of the last one with all the three objections and their samadhana, parihara that we saw. And then this verse, we saw the meaning of it. Then we saw the Anvaya also. Prabhuhu is the name for Atma. Atma is equated to the Lord, Ishvara. Ishvara is also called Prabhu. Why? They have many similar qualities. In fact, they are one and the same. Both have no beginning, no end. Both were not born of some other cause. And finally, both are the cause of this universe, this projection of this universe, because we find this customary analysis, the classic analysis in the Taittiriya Upanishad. First, the Upanishad opens with the statement Brahmavit apnoti param. The knower of the Brahman gains the ultimate. Then everybody wants ultimate. Oh, let me also have this ultimate. Everybody goes, and then what happens? Then what is this ultimate is described. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. We saw that in the little bit in the satsang question last night. So this Brahman is defined as that which is the source of everything, and which is all-knowing, which transcends the knower-known knowledge divide, and which is limitless. And then it is also promised in the beginning of the Upanishad. What is promised? That the one who knows Brahman as oneself will have all their desires fulfilled at once. This is the promise. Then the Upanishad switches in the next mantra itself, quietly, without any introduction, without any discussion, switches the word Brahman for Atma. So Brahmana saha sarvan kaman samashnute, it is told. And then the very next mantra says tasmad va etasmad, not Brahmana, Atmanah akashas sambhutah. From this Atma, space was born. From space, Vayu, wind was born. And from the wind, what was born? Agni was born, fire was born. Like this, the creation cosmology is described all right, but it's ascribed to what? Atma, I. And in the Kaivalya Upanishad, this is what it says, Mayi eva sakalam jatam, Mayi sarvam pratishtitam, Mayi eva sarvam layam yanti. Everything, these are the words of a jnani. The one who knows self-knowledge, what will they say? In me, everything is born. From me, everything is born. In me, everything is born. By me, everything is sustained. And then everything goes back to me. So, tasmad, what am I? Prabhu. So, this Atma, Satchidanandam Brahma, is Prabhu and is called Prabhu because it's one and the same as the Lord. Prakarshena Bhavati, we saw that. And then it does not create anything. It has not even created the world, so to speak, because otherwise Prabhu will have status of creator. Creator means what? Karta. This is why we have to be careful how we use the words. And so here, three things it does not create. What does it not create? Read the verse. Do worship. Kartritvam, it doesn't create. Karmani, what is karmani? Objects. Yeah. Objects also means what? The whole jagat is full of what? Objects. So objects also it doesn't create. Kartritvam it doesn't create. And what is the third thing it doesn't create? Yeah. So between the karma and karma phala there is a connection. If I do this, I will get this. Even a pet dog knows that. If I sit and put out my hand to shake hand, when the master says shake hand, then there will be one dog biscuit for me. So this is called karma and karma phala sanyoga. Even that is absent for this Prabhu. We saw that yesterday. Bhashya. Na kartritvam kuru iti. Na api karmani. So kuru iti kartritvam. Kartritvam means they not just do worship, but an order, please do. It would be kind of nice if all the people had just directives from Ishvara. Text message comes, from one WhatsApp number, business account, Jagat Karta, business account. Today you please do this. And the life becomes so easy, because our problem is that we don't have an instruction booklet. The jiva doesn't come with an instruction booklet, so every day confused what to do today, what to do, how to do, what if I do something wrong, and what if I do something right, but nobody recognizes it. All these things are just swirling in the mind, these kinds of thoughts. But the truth is, we are not getting any text messages. And if we are getting text messages, it is from not Bhagavan, okay? It is from somebody who is a impersonator, who in the name of Bhagavan says, and there are such WhatsApp messages I have seen. What do they say? This is from Tirupati, this message is coming from Tirupati, this is what you need to know. And then you click on it because you're in a vulnerable state that day, nothing has gone right. And then you're in a vulnerable state that day, and then what? Then you click on it, and then it tells you what to do, and then you succumb to that. Then you click on it the next day also. And the third day, when you are feeling good and you don't click on it, you feel guilty. So all this is not there for the Atma. No instructions, no kuru iti, not at all there. Because that lot, kuru, what is that? This imperative mood, do this. No, please, or would you like to do this? No, do. This has a very big force. This has a very big force on humanity. And that's why the first portion of the Shastra is very difficult to give up. Because kuru, kuru, kuru. All the time kuru, 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 kuru. and so therefore one is caught in that. But kuru iti, and it doesn't say do, because the kuru is the parent of do worship. Kartritva buddhi comes from hearing kuru, 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 kuru. Kuru means do. Kuru, kuru, kuru. And then kuru means what? That means I am an agent. I am the karta of this imperative to do. This order to do, somebody has to take up that order, right? So kuru, 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 if you keep hearing, maybe I am being called. Maybe I need to do something. And then the agent is born. So kuru, this order, is the mother of karta. And na api karmani. Here Adi Shankara says karmani means objects in the universe. Ratha, ghata, prasadadini. So karmani means objects, not action or result of action, but various objects to which the agent is connected. And the agent of action, the agent of a prospective action, is connected to the objects by what mode? Why is there a connection between object and a potential agent? Desire, ragadvesha. This is what we have to remember. So therefore, the ratha means vehicles, chariot, cars, etc., vehicle. And then ghata means pot, our favorite pot. And then prasada, don't confuse with prasada and don't think it is misspelled, okay? Prasada means big mansion, palace-like. And so vehicle, and then pot means probably objects of daily use, etc., because nobody has a desire for pot. So unless we have some other meaning for the word pot, okay? Yeah. So then prasada means the mansion, big palaces, etc. And then he remembers the sutra 1449, Ipsita tamani. So this Paninian sutra defines what is karma. Kartuhu ipsita tamam Karma. So that what is karma? What is the object of action? That which is prodded by desire. Desire here is ipsa. Aptum ichha. San pratyaya, just like jignasa, mumuksha. How many other words we know? Desiderative words? Bubhuksha, bubhutsa, chikirsha, titiksha. Titiksha is swarthe, but still, nonetheless, these are all sun-ending words. Only sun-ending words. When will we have daughter-ending words? Don't ask, okay? This is the Pratyaya's name is Sun. So, not S-O-N, okay? And so, the Sun Pratyaya here, Aptum Ichha. Why should it not be Apsa? Yeah. Why is it Ipsa? Because there is a rule where a lot of these desiderative nouns, they are converted into E, many of them. So this is also part of that rule. And so, aptum ichha. Ap means to get, to gain. So the desire to gain, the desire to obtain is called ipsa. Ipsita means past passive participle, that which was desired, desirable. And then you add one more pratyaya, ipsita tama, ipsita tara, ipsita tama. What are we saying here? Comparative. So the ipsita tama means most desirable. The most desirable objects, and the same objects are given which were given by Lord Yama to Nachiketa, which were dangled in front of Nachiketa. So, Rathaha, Turyaha, all these things, we'll give horses, chariots, this, that, all these things, whatever you want. Prasada, mansions, long life, celestial singers, all these things you can add to this. The objects of desire, in fact, not just objects of desire, the most desirable objects, he says, and he brings in that sutra, ipsita tamani, karmani. So the objects are the most desirable, and then neither the desirer is created, nor is the objects of desire created. Utpadayati, srijati, na srijati, na srijati, na utpadayati. Who? Prabhuhu. And here there is a mistake. It should be Atma. It says Atma in the one that I am following. So Atma. Na api rathadi kritavat tat bhalena samyogaha. So na api rathadi kritavat. So like the one who rathadi krit means rathadi karoti, that one. So the one who creates the chariot, palace, etc., there is no connection to the result. What is the result of chariot? That means it is for somebody who wants to go for a joy ride. What is the result of creating the palace? To sit there and show off. What a big house I have. So neither the objects are created, nor the one who is the creator of these objects, that is also not there. And then finally the results of these objects and the connection with the objects and their results in the form of short-lived joy and then dukkha, all this is also not created. And then we wonder, where does this creation come from? Because obviously there is a connection. Everybody, even though 100 times we may be saying the 47th or thereabout verse of the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where karmani eva adhikarahate, you only have right over karma, not over the results thereof. Even though we say that 100 times, our whole lives, what are we doing? Trying to manufacture the results of our actions. Our actions are carefully thought and put on the plate of desire and then carefully thought out. This is exactly the reason why the Sanskrit tables don't come, because the mind is full. Mind is full of what? If I do this, what will be the counter? How will this be countered? If I say this, what will the other person say? And if I want this, how to get this? And if I don't want this, how to ward that off? How to ward off the undesirable? How to keep gaining the desirable in this, though, not only one life, but all the lifetimes come and go, come and go, come and go. And the jiva is what? Business as usual, same, not a single change. Alas, alas. So therefore, the whole life goes in pravritti nivritti pursuits. Pravritti, going after something which is what? Desirable. Ipsitatamam karma. Going after objects of desire is called pravritti. And then coming away from objects of dislike is called what? Nivritti. Running towards, like the Shuktika. Shuktika means the pearl's mother. Okay, and then what? Running away from what? Rope snake. These are the two classic examples. So run, and run away, run away, run away. The whole life goes in this, and the mind is in overdrive. This is why there is ayasa. This is why there is exhaustion. This is why one is not able to complete whatever one needs to complete, because the mind gets into this scheming mode. How to avoid discomfort, how to avoid invalidating situations, how to multiply praise, how to multiply what I want to get from others: love, acknowledgement, validation, respect, praise. How to multiply those situations? How should I conduct myself so that I can get accepted by all the people all the time? What a tiring prospect, think about it. Yeah. And then how to avoid disrespect, how to avoid annoying people, how to stay away from these kinds of situations which will just give me a headache. How to stay away from people who are constantly wanting things. How to keep needy people at an arm's length. This is how the whole day, in fact the whole month, the whole life, the whole year after year, life after life goes in this. And then Atma washes its hands. Bhagavan washes his hand. Bhagavan says, that's on you, that's not on me. I didn't do any of this. And in the 4th chapter also Bhagavan says the same thing. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashah tasya kartaram mam vidhi akartaram avyayam. So from one standpoint, of course, you can say, this whole, I have my signature on the Jagat. Yes, everything is a projection, and then yes, this is what it is. But then if you keep asking specific questions, I will say, I did not do that, I did not do this, I did not create this. And these are all what? Your problems, your jiva's problems, jivik problems. But why do I have these problems? And that is explained in the last pada, the last quarter of the verse. Swabhavahatu pravartate. This swabhava, first of all, the word swabhava must be differentiated customarily from the word swarupa. Swarupasya na nivrittihi. That which cannot be changed customarily in the Shastra is referred to as Swarupa, Swasya Rupa, Swarupa. And then Swabhava means tendencies. Can the tendencies be changed? Yes. So, because of Atma Ajnanam, there are tendencies, and those tendencies have to do with wrong identification because I do not see myself as Atma. What do I see myself as? Bhokta, Karta, Jiva, disconnected from Ishvara, disconnected from the whole universe, disconnected from myself, disconnected from other jivas. And so, therefore, this wrong notion, because of Atma Ajnanam, this wrong notion is the one that gives rise to desire, and desire gives rise to karma, karma gives rise to karma phala. Karma phala, do you like or not like? Don't like. So, I have to do a redo. Karma 2.0 to get what? Karma phala 2.0. So I keep redoing the same karma, hoping for a different outcome. This, by the way, is the definition of madness. Keeping on doing the same action, hoping for a different result. So what is the same action? Mining the finite and trying to make the finite into what? Infinite. This is the same action. Same action year after year, same action life after life after life. Does it get boring? Briefly, but then I'm on to it again. This is the problem. So therefore, this whole shrinkhala, this chain of desire, which leads to pressure to fulfill the desire, which leads to action, which leads to results of action, wrong results of action come, which leads to action, results of action, action, results of action. That itself is a little loop. And then there is also another thing. What is that? The results of action are 2 in number. What are they? Did you not have breakfast? Yeah. Papa and Punya, finally. Okay. Papa and Punya. So, comfortable situations in the here and the hereafter, one is enjoying because of what? Punya. Good karma that is done in this or other lives. And then uncomfortable situations one is suffering from in this or other lives due to what? Papa. Due to karma that is done against dharma. So Papa Punya, and then the Papa Punya join Sanchita Karma, this huge bank account that we have spoken of, and that leads to what? Rebirth, to exhaust those karmas. The discussion itself is exhausting, so let's quickly move on to the next paragraph. So, yadi kinchidapi swatah na karoti na karayati च देही कह तर्हि कुर्वन् कारयञ्च प्रवर्तते इति उच्यते. If the Atma is very straightforward bhashya, if the Atma, if the Lord, the cause of the universe, by itself doesn't do anything or doesn't cause anyone to do anything, so this Dehi, he reminds us the Atma and the knower of the Atma are one and the same. So tarhi naiva kurvan tarhi, even though this dehi, the person here who is inhabiting the deha, how does this person pravartate? What is it that is causing the action to be done? Kurvan and karayan, how is the person doing? The self is not doing the action, and then so the dehi swatah na karoti, so kaha kurvan karyancha pravartate. What is it? What else is there? Is there another factor? And then the word is swabhava. Swabhava means tendencies. And we have talked about all these tendencies which are the direct prasada of ajnanam. Becoming karta, bhokta, pramata, all these finite associations and identifications lead one directly to misery. And so therefore, this swabhava on the individual level, these tendencies, these samskaras of not enough. And not enough means what? It's a direct statement of Atma Ajnanam. I am not enough. And if I myself am not enough, what I have, is it enough or not enough? Not enough. Who I am, not enough. What I have, not enough. And okay, I got a few wants fulfilled. Is that enough? Not enough. And then whatever anybody gives me, is that enough? Not enough. And so this not enough is a very costly effect of Atma Ajnanam, and then on the individual level it is called not enough. This is called Swabhava, a sense of lack all the time. I lack, I lack, I lack, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have, like this, like the background instrument in any concert that keeps the Shruti going. Shruti means a certain melody, the primal notes of that particular melody, the raga is kept going. It is called Tanpura. And so that the vocalist can go everywhere and improvise. Go to the edge of the raga and come back. Tease the edge of the raga, briefly enter the next raga and then come back quickly. And this Tanpura will be faithfully keeping the main notes of this raga so that they can come back. And then people go crazy. Oh, you went to the edge and came back. Oh, this is very fantastic. They say wah wah and clap. And all this clap and the accolades go to the vocalist, the improviser, because of the creativity. But that creativity is based on what? The stability here on these notes. So the jiva also has a stability. What is that? I lack, I lack, I lack, I lack, I want, I want, I want, I want, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough. This is the so-called stability. This is the swabhava on the individual level. This is the swabhava. But then individual level means, do I have it? Yes. Oh, but then why are you only looking at me and telling me I have it? Even my roommate has it. Yes, your roommate also has it. Then in all the other ashrams, whoever is going to the ashram, everybody has it. Yes. What about the people? Then why should I go to the ashram? What about the people having some talk on the banks of the Ganga? They have never entered the ashram. They use the Ganga only for a walk. What about them? They also have it. Oh, they also have it. Yes. So that means, what about people in China? They also have it. What about people in South Africa? They also have it. Oh my God, are you saying this is universal? Yes. Vedanta deals with that which is universal, which is individually customized in the form of this knowledge. It's universal, absolutely universal. It's a universal tendency to say, I don't have, that's why we can talk about it. I don't have, I am not enough, I lack, everything is wrong with me. I am not okay, therefore the world is not okay. You are not okay, therefore I am not okay. This is called codependency. All these things are there. These are all universal. That's why we can talk about it. And so here, when we see this swabhava, the tendency of I am not enough, I am an idiot, nobody loves me, I don't love anybody either, all these tendencies which are universal, when we see, now we have to pretend we are a drone. We have to hover a little above the individual situation. Then what do we get? We get a very interesting situation. We see the long, the large point of view from a vista. We have a vista from which we see a standpoint that's different from how this ajnanam expresses itself in the individual body, mind, sense complex. We climb to a higher vantage point and see how this ajnanam is there from the standpoint of the creation itself. And that ajnanam has a name, and that name is Maya. Actually, it's a misnomer, because Maya is the Maya is actually all knowledge. All knowledge? Yes. Ya ma sa Maya. She is all knowledge. She is a goddess. She is all knowledge. All knowledge? Yes. Then why am I like this? Not for you. Only for Ishvara, she is all knowledge. But why are you telling me that she is all knowledge and, only for Ishvara? What does that have to do with me? Because you also are one and the same as Ishvara. The separating factor is Ajnanam, which is the shadow side of Maya, to which you have subscribed. And I told you the other day, you can subscribe to many things online, but to cancel the subscription, Rudra has to come and cancel it. You don't know how to cancel it. You cannot cancel it. It keeps renewing, and then you say, okay, next month I'll cancel it, and then next month you go, you don't find the button anywhere. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Why Rudra? Because he puts an end to things. Okay, that's why you have to know who to invoke when. Yeah, so like this, from the standpoint of the total Ishvara, we say this shadow, this subscription to the shadow side of Maya is the cause of pain, is the cause of sorrow, is the cause of fear, and in other words, it's the cause of Atma Ajnanam. Cause of Atma Ajnanam. And so Maya, how can Maya be the cause of Atma Ajnanam? As though, that's all. We just add one as though and everything goes. Yeah. Even in interpersonal relationships. Are you angry with me? As though. Yeah. See? See? Immediate truth. Yeah. Just put an as though. Even for world peace. As though you put, and then it is good. Speaking of world peace, I got one intimation that people all over the world are praying for this war to end. And then just for 5 minutes, but then globally it is happening, and the time slot for India is 9 p.m. to 9:05 p.m. You want to do it tonight? Okay, we'll do it tonight. We just silently pray after the music satsang. So now, coming back here, from the standpoint of Ishvara, there is no shadow side, there is no shadow. For that matter, there is no Maya even. But from the standpoint of the manifest universe, we bring in this Maya as a factor to account for the Vyavaharika Satta. Vyavaharika Satta means the transactional reality, the everyday empirical reality. Because we cannot dismiss it. You are saying everything is mithya, mithya. Mithya doesn't mean non-existent. Mithya means what? Dependent reality. Or you are an extreme Vedantin and you are saying Jagat doesn't exist. And where are you walking? In the Jagat. Yeah, 5 elements don't exist. And then where are you walking? On earth, which is what? A 5 element, one of the 5 elements. And then monkeys don't exist. The banana in my hand also doesn't exist. And then what happens? The monkey has come, consumed the banana along with the hand. All right. And so like this, so there must be an interim order of reality for pedagogical purposes. Even though Paramarthikataya, there is no actor, there is no action, there is no Jagat, there is no liver in the Jagat. All that is there is Brahman, and I am that Brahman, finished, period, Purnamadaha, Purnamidam, finished. That is from Paramarthika Satta. Then we have the interim reality. What is that interim thing? Vyavaharika Satta. This is important. We cannot dismiss the Jagat. Why? Because we are living in it. And the Jagat becomes a stomping ground for an important pedagogical process by which we learn Vedanta. How do we understand and assimilate Vedanta? Very beautiful. First, we have to see the 3 orders of reality. Paramarthika, Paramarthikam, Sat. And what is Paramarthikam Sat? Nothing is there except me. No Ishvara, me, Brahman. All that is here is me, 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 me. It's all about me. That is what Brahma Mimamsa says. That's why it's called Mimamsa. It's all about me. Okay? This is Paramarthika Satta. Yeah, no Rathaha, no Ghataha, nothing is there. No Prasada, no, nothing is there. All that is there is Atma. That Atma is alone, uncontested, without a second. That is what it is, by itself. Kevalaha. This is Paramarthika Satta. Then on the flip side, this is on the total, and on the individual side, what kind of a Satta are we living in? Pratibhasika Satta, not Vyavaharika, that is still yet to come. Pratibhasika Satta means my own little finite world, which is crafted with slights, injuries, pain, sorrows, misunderstandings, fears. This is my own world of subjective emotions. This is where one lives. Most of the time, 99.9% of the time, a person is living in one's own subjectivity. Now, from this subjective world in which I live, to go all the way to where? Paramarthika, it's a very big, it's worse than climbing Everest. Very big. It is a, what is that called? It is Bhima karma. It is a very difficult karma. Very, very, very difficult. And so therefore, we need a landing pad. Like even when you cross the river, there will be some lilies. And then these water lilies, the big water lilies, have these big, huge leaves. Huge leaves. You can see in Thailand and certain other places. You can sleep in it. It is 5.5 feet, the radius is there. And so like this, you can nicely curl up and sleep in one of them. It will hold your weight also. And then, so you can, crossing the pond, crossing the river, you can step on this lily pad and then take a little rest before you jump onto the other side. And so this lily pad is the interim place called Vyavaharika Satta. Why? Because it's a shared reality. What is Pratibhasika? My own reality that even if I share, nobody will understand. They will just say, you are cuckoo, because this is what it is. All, subjective conclusions, total confusion. I don't like this one. Why? Just because. Sometimes even I don't know why I don't like. It is hidden from me itself. This one is a problem. That situation is problematic. Oh, that situation will lead to some other situation, and then we will all die. What is the use? And then this is the kind of a drastic subjectivity. And from this drastic subjectivity, where I am spinning my own world of all kinds of scenarios, all kinds of happenings which will never happen, which haven't happened. And even if they happen, I am versatile enough to understand and deal with them, I do not know. So this is the world of the perma child, permanent inner child. Always spinning. And from there, if that inner child just needs to be hugged, loved up, it doesn't need to study Vedanta. And who should hug it? The adult should hug it, but there is no adult present. The adult has to be discovered, and the adult is only discovered in this reality which we all share. The subjective reality is a personal reality. The shared reality is an interpersonal reality. We can all agree that there are 5 elements, yes? Yeah, if somebody begs to differ, then they are a special person. Who is a special person? The one who needs a specialist. So that is also part of this. No problem, they are also there. But for the most part, we live in a shared reality where the ruling sentence is what? It is there and therefore I can relate to it, I can see it. The sun is there, therefore I can see it. Moon is there, therefore I can see it. Gangaji is there, therefore I can see her. And then body is there, therefore I can see it. Whereas Pratibhasika, I see it, therefore it must be there. Do you see the difference? What is Pratibhasika? I see it, and therefore I conclude wrongly most of the time it must be there. I see it. What do you see? A frown on the friend's face. Therefore what? I see it, therefore she or he must be angry with me. And so this is the personal reality, and then from the personal reality you cannot go to the absolute reality. Not possible. Not possible. Why? Because there are many things to account for. So from the personal reality, because there is no place, there is no landing pad to shed the personal non-reality. To shed the Pratibhasika, there should be a place where I can sit and study the Upanishad. Upanishad, yeah, that which makes me shed the subjective reality is Upanishad. So I have to shed that reality and then sit firmly on the ground which is occupied by everybody and which is objective. The Jagat is objective. My interpretation of the Jagat subjective, but the Jagat is objective. Oh, the sun is very angry. Sun is neither angry nor sad nor anything. It simply is there. But if I think sun is angry, then it is I have relapsed into Pratibhasika. So the first order of Vedantic pedagogy, the teaching methodology, is to bring the jiva out of the unshared personal privatized reality, so-called reality of all kinds of notions, to inhabit a shared interpersonal reality of facts. So from feelings we have come to what? Facts. This is an important place because here in the Vyavaharika Satta alone, Ajnanam is recognized, Ajnanam is shed, Ajnanam shed, Pratibhasika is also shed, because after all the personal reality is what? Is a spin-off of Ajnanam. So therefore we have three orders of reality, and Vedanta strives to bring the jiva from the subject, from inhabiting the subjective reality to the objective reality, and then says that the most objective of all reality is you. And slowly, between the objective reality, which is the empirical reality, the Jagat, etc., 5 elements, then the Jagat is resolved into Ishvara, Brahman, as what? As an effect, and the effect is non-separate from cause, and both the causality, effect is Brahman, cause is Brahman, and the effect is a superimposition upon that Brahman which is free of effect. Cause is a superimposition upon that Brahman which is free of being cause. So the Jagat is neither cause nor effect, and for all practical purposes the Jagat is an extension of Ishvara. First we understand, and then we say the Jagat is an extension of me. Mayi eva sakalam jatam, mayi eva pratishthitam, mayi eva layam yati. The whole Jagat rises in me, is sustained by me, and then resolves in me. Do you see the whole trajectory? What a brilliant trajectory this is. But then there are people who are all Vedantins only, and then in the 15th century or 14th century thereabouts, there was one Swami Prakashatman. And this Swami Prakashatma, what did he do? He said, we should just say what you see. So the Srishti, the so-called Jagat, is not an objective reality. You say it's the shared reality. You say, the sun I can see, you can see, and you call a bystander, somebody who's walking on the road, hey, do you see the sun? They will also say, yes, I see the sun. Therefore, it's a shared reality. But these people, known as Drishti Srishtivadins, Drishti Srishtivadins means those who subscribe to a mata, a philosophical standpoint which says that there is no, what is that? Vyavaharika Satta. There is only Pratibhasika and then there is only Paramarthika. There is no empirical reality. Why? Because you may say, we see a shared sun, but then each person will see their version of the sun or what they feel about the sun. So the person who is looking at any object which everybody can see, like the river, evokes various things. So sometimes for one person the river invokes happiness. For another person, the same river invokes sadness. Why? Because that was a point of a breakup. So they had a breakup on the banks of the river. So therefore, the river invokes sorrow. Or somebody, they had lost a family member in a flood. So any body of water invokes the sense of loss. They relive. So what are we all looking at? Shared river. Everybody sees the river all right, but the sight of the river is not free of pratibhasika, can never be free of pratibhasika. But they do say that Upanishad helps you be free of pratibhasika. Don't bother with the worldly objects and the worldly situations. And then what? And then go straight to Brahman and understand that there is no Jagat to speak of. Drishti Srishti Vada. This is what is the Bhamati Mata. Who is Bhamati? Bhamati is not a person. Bhamati is a person, but it's a work also. It's a work named after a person. So there was one Pandit called Vachaspati Mishra. Vachaspati Mishra wrote a Vartika for Brahma Sutra. Some of it is gone missing. Some of it went missing, probably eaten by goats. And some lazy brahmacharis who had not made copies in those days. Yeah. So there was don't say in those days there were no Xerox machines. They were just called brahmacharis. That's all. Okay. So then, so some lazy brahmachari did not copy, or then it is ajabhakshitam. It became goat food. The court said, let me assimilate this Vartika better than the student. And that is what the goat did. And then so some pages, many pages have gone missing, but we can reconstruct it based on Adi Shankara's critique of it. Very beautiful critique. And if Adi Shankara critiques something, that means it is worthy of critique, because he doesn't engage with roadside riffraff commentators. He will engage with the best, the fruit of the fruit, best of the best. So then the Vachaspati Mishra's work called Bhamati, named after his wife whom he badly neglected. Oh, just for a few days? No. For a few months? No. Decades. Until he finished this work, he did not look up. And then when he looked up, he saw a grey-haired lady standing in front of him. He was shocked. He said, "Who are you? What are you doing in my house?" She said, "It is my house too. I am your wife. Who do you think has been taking care of you, feeding you, clothing you, and taking care of all your needs all this time?" And then he just feels so guilty, so bad, that he dedicates the work to her and names it after her. That is why her name was Bhamati. So, this is called Bhamati Mata. The followers and the descendants, not descendants of Vachaspati Mishra, but descendants of these subscribers of this philosophy are called Bhamati. The Bhamati Mata followers. And so for them, there are only two orders of reality. That's why it is they follow this Drishti Srishti Vada. So we don't subscribe to that because it is much more tough, even though what they are saying is not wrong and the end point is the same, but still it is very, very tough because the hold of the emotions need a place, need an objective place where we can check our sanity, and that happens to be the Bhagavat made Jagat. Bhagavan's Jagat happens to be that place where I can shed all these notions and then very effortlessly, without dismissing the Jagat, understand that I am not part of this Jagat. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the senses. What am I? Atma iti. So this is how to come out of it. But then here, on the collective level, this avidya, so this svabhava is what? Avidya lakshana prakritihi. The nature which is characterized Maya. Prakriti means Maya. Upadana karanam. So Maya has two Shaktis and one of them is called Avarana. Avarana Shakti. And the other one is called what? Vikshepa Shakti. Vikshepa Shakti, Avarana Shakti. And so these two Shaktis are responsible for the projection of the Jagat and the concealment of one's own nature. So, which Shakti I have to transcend and overcome? Avarana Shakti. Vikshepa, I can't do anything. Vikshepa is what is called Ishvara Srishti. I don't have to make anything into one, it's already one, and that oneness which is concealed from me, I have to overcome. And the antidote to Avarana Shakti is Atma Ajnanam. And this Atma Ajnanam, when it is overcome, the Maya Shakti does not have any hold. And then he says, if you are interested in Maya, please wait till chapter 7. Daivi Hyesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Duratyaya means difficult to cross. This is my goddess, which I cannot be separated from. Ishvara is talking as Lord Krishna. And then she is what? She is Trigunatmika. She puts everyone under the spell of the three gunas. And this Daivi Shakti, what is she? She is Trigunatmika. Duratyaya, difficult to cross. How do you cross her? You cross her by going straight to Bhagavan, understanding Bhagavan. Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam taranti te. They cross over Maya easily. How? By understanding themselves as me. You don't understand yourself as Vikshepa Shakti and you don't identify with Atma Ajnanam. That's the wrong identification. You identify with what? That which doesn't have Ajnanam, Ishvara. And that Adi Shankara will say, Vakshamana Shaktihi. Vakshamana means that which is going to be enumerated, that where in chapter 7, verse number 14. So this is what we have to look forward to. And then the next verse we will take up in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.